As part of commemoration of Productivity Week celebrations for the year 2022, with the theme of self-reliance through productivity as given by National Productivity Council, New Delhi, Institute of Management Consultants of India, Hyderabad chapter, cordially invites you for the discussion entitled Self-Reliance and Productivity from Technology Perspective. This is participated by Sri Bharath Kumar and Sri Kishore. Bharath Kumar is the CEO Zero Code and Kishore is Chief Strategy Officer Zero Code. Let me share few interesting insights about a glimpse of their personality. Bharath is a serial entrepreneur with 19 years of experience in the technology industry. He delivered over 1,000 projects for more than 140 customers across 28 countries. Some of his key skills include techno-innovation, leadership, business modeling, opportunity mapping, and strong basis in understanding business and technology bridging. Bharath holds a strong performance in building and having delivered products across the verticals. Sri Kishore, Chief Strategy Officer, has an overall experience of 20 years in strategy consulting, business research, academics, and creative writing. It includes 14 years of experience in business management consultant in the area of strategy development, design, research in advisory and consulting roles, around 2 years of experience as assistant professor teaching international trade, entrepreneurship, and human resource, and 3 years as independent academic project research consulting. Zero Code has been their latest innovation to enable enterprise digital transformation without writing code to build web and mobile first enterprise applications. Also, this it improves the immense scope for augment enterprises in go-to-market scenarios and admiringly maintaining maintenance friendly. May I invite Sri Bharath and Kishore to commence their discussion.
Thanks for inviting. Kishore, we can continue.
It's a really pleasure to be part of this activity, sir, especially with your International Management Consulting Association. This is the right time for us to have a dialogue in understanding the self-reliance and productivity from a technology perspective. So I would like to make an initial emphasis about how we actually look at this from a tech, as a tech perspective. We largely see that the combination and collaboration between an individual or employees or an organization determines the overall contribution factor, which can be considered as or impacts the productivity. So this understanding, to initiate on this understanding on self-reliance and productivity, we would like to reflect across various facets like efficiency, processes, tools, and technology, which has become the core objective of enhancing competitiveness of an organization. I think this is where entrepreneurs found a space, both in terms of elevating self-reliance and also productivity. This is largely a conversation. So I would like to ask Bharath's perspective about how exactly entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs largely start themselves on a self-reliance mode. So Bharath, how would you like to reflect on this?
Thanks, Ram. According to me, as a startup, self-reliance has been a core trait that came to us from the limited resources and personally from an ability to find alternatives to each constraint we have ever encountered. In the recent times, the self-reliance movement has been picking up across the segments, but startups largely begins with it. And it is evident that we are now the second largest producer of more unicorns as per 2021 stats. This recognition improves how India has defined its transformation journey, moving from a marketplace to a customer community and now to a startup nation. It's true journey of the self-reliance theme.
Yes, this is quite a progressive emphasis in understanding the self-reliance impact on entrepreneurship in India. And the parabola that you just suggested sounds very familiar to the growth story of India. Now, believing all this, can you identify and suggest, since your core career is all about entrepreneurship, can you please suggest what are those list some self-reliance aspects that you actually can be debated across or can be the source?
So as far as I'm concerned, self-reliance can vary, but the ultimate purpose is defined with the culture only. Some of the skills that I would like to see improvised is one, the basic core competency of skills, bringing in more innovation and finding new business models can definitely improve the self-reliance as we move forward.
Okay. Understanding the innovation that's actually ruling the startup culture, and that's how we have actually progressed to be one of the second most startups nation. Looking at the advent of pandemic in the age of the crisis for the last 2 years, what exact change you actually have considered or you encountered with respect to productivity?
So let me answer this in two parts. One, with the advent of pandemic, the opportunities around have multiplied across segments. And to capture this moment, it requires skill, people, and technology. Irrespective of the business segment, digitization of business and its process have become a high priority for every entity. The development needs for omni-channel applications has increased, as it is the only way to reach, cater, and continuously engage their customers. Two, equally, the customer's changing preference from a touchless delivery to a visitless purchase, online meetings, internet conversations, IoT have caught the demand like never before. This influenced seeking instinct services and now driven demand across education, health, retail, pharma, and much more sectors. This has given Zero Code a right space that enables your resources to optimally utilized and remain more productive than just being busy and occupied with indecisiveness.
Yeah, so that really touches the age of novism we are living in, where the omni-channel demand with the latest technologies have grown very much. So this is a similar scenario across globe. The organizations witnessed a quantum jump in terms of digital adoption, in trying to carve out a lookout for what accessible technologies they can actually have in, because every technology brings in a learning curve. Also equally, what is the affordable skills resources that they can actually go in. And more importantly, in trying their efforts in search of accessible technologies and for an affordable skills, how exactly the time-saving deliverables can actually these particular technologies can perform in terms of productivity. Looking at this particular thing, how Zero Code can actually facilitate this particular balance of between performance, persuasion, and productivity.
Before how Zero Code facilitates this balance, currently, I would like to touch upon organizations are having to deal with teams working across in different modes, work from home, remote working, hybrid environments, leading to demanding new working plans, process, and policies was a tough ask. To keep the productivity in check and to be true, it has kicked up the hornet's nest. As a technocrat, I still believe until this is resolved, the adoption of new working models, productivity culture plays a key role in converging the challenge into a source of future sustenance. That's where zero code tuned out to be the technology that not just fit into the context, but lays a strong basis in answering the questions of productivity and issues around it in one go, like skills, cost, time, and resource dependency.
Yeah, I straightforward agree to the aspects of skills, cost, time, and resources. When the balance between the productivity, performance, and persuasion happens, how does actually zero code create alternatives to something, as you say, reducing the resource dependency or performance independence? How do you see that?
So firstly, with zero code, you would be able to build various kinds of systems. It can be a complete end-to-end system, or it can be a backend exposing APIs to your IoT devices, or it can just be a mashup of multiple systems. All of this can be trained with little or no computer background. Within just few weeks, you can enable somebody to build simple to very complex applications. Most importantly, it eases you from excessive dependency on the most senior resource to get the application up and running in a very short period. As well as it also enables anyone to maintain the system with utmost transparency and openness in the framework. Zero code brings in the breather to the client team in continuing their momentum with the focus, integrative planning, and excellence. It was not as easy said. It took us a while for us to streamline the model and working, but soon we could turn things around across deliverables, skills, training, and product engineering and innovation. The small improvement got bigger attention and traction of zero code across accessibility, affordability, and adaptability.
Okay. It's pretty good to learn about how small improvements can build the attention and traction for an entity, for a tech entity, and for the technology that you're working on is really applaudable. So for me, I think you're quite aware of productivity J-curve, the phenomena that actually try to largely be measured as a framework before a change, during the change, and after the change, towards how a technology is generally adapted by organizations. So how do you actually see zero code mapping with its ability or its capacities in terms to the phenomenon of productivity J-curve? I'm sure that you are aware of the productivity J-curve as a startup.
Yeah. So J-curve represents the optimism across organizations in trying their hand at new technologies like AI, cloud computing, low code, no code, cybersecurity, IoT, robotics, whatnot. As per the World Economic Forum survey, there are a lot of technologies that people are looking to explore. This indicates, despite the slowdown and severe impact of pandemic on business, these adoption ratios suggest the productivity boom will continue and certainly raises to catch up the usual norms very soon. At the forefront of digital technologies, zero code triggers a fundamental shift in employment, innovation, and productivity. These changes provide opportunities for unprecedented growth across different sectors of the economy. But at the same time, they continue to challenge that organizations must overcome before they can tap into their full potential. But zero code matches significantly the organization shift to new technologies. It brings the idea of reducing the quantity of intangible investments and improving the adoption of new technology in realizing the results with carefully minimizing the output delays of an organization. Historically, when these new technologies become available, they don't immediately translate into productive growth, but whereas zero code enables the utility immediately.
That's fascinating way of knowing how an organization can be enabled with minimal delays in the outcomes. That can trigger actually the adaptation levels of an organization to a technology the technology arena like low code, no code, on which the zero code has actually been built for. Now, my next question is little bit exploring one. Can you throw some light in about the details about how zero code impacts across and why organizations should actually think zero code if it is all about productivity and self-efficiency?
That's an interesting question. Zero code's core purpose is to engage productivity uninterrupted as a technology by capturing required skills that can aid development across multiple platforms and integration with different systems. Zero code powers organization to act instinctively by converting an idea into an application, becoming an initiative, than an excessive preparation, planning, and unsure execution of implementation. Zero code is ready to take off an affirmative technology that delivers performance. Our very mission is to do a rapid business enablement. So we do this with the following things. We address the skill gaps by training aspirants to improve their chances of hiring, irrespective of their academic background and technology exposure. We enable organizations' capacity and capability in meeting the delivery schedules and improving the integration scope with a lot of advanced technologies like AI, ML, IoT, etc. And also modeling the needs across time, cost, and support is a niche format where zero code is available as a service, product, and a platform.
Okay, that's I also been closely working with the strategic part of zero code. How exactly you see the mission that you are on in trying to make digitization easy, and also trying to build a zero coders community? How do you actually look at that? As I was actually, you were referring to a World Economic Forum survey, it actually affirmed that the almost 80% of the organizations are quite certain to roll out and accelerate their plans with respect to digitization shift. So in happening so, there is almost a 40% plus formats in employment, changing employment formats and models to engage with the newer opportunities created in the newer age, post-pandemic times. How do you actually see your mission is actually trying to create milestones for the organizations in their performances? This is something about you're close to working, you're close to your heart, your work efforts. So that's where I mean it.
So we have been working on trying to create a very vibrant community of 1 million zero coders who can be part of zero code family and start enabling companies to get digitized as we move forward. Okay. On the other side, we have also been trying to enable organizations to go digital, because that has become a very fundamental competitive feature for companies to go digital with a little investments and ensure that they also are able to build some world-class products using zero code.
Yeah, so that's pretty good to know that zero code is actually is on its spread across the globe, capturing various business segments from banking to agriculture. Can you throw some light on it? How exactly zero code is able to fit into these particular different segments? So adoption of zero code is also made easy by the industry to accept it.
Yeah, so there has been governments who have adopted the platform. There has been banks who have adopted the platform. There have been a lot of startups who have started adopting the platform. Okay, it's the ability, not only its ability to build something faster, okay, it's also the ability to build something very secure. It's also the ability to build something very, very scalable. Okay, all of this is able to meet their not just their today's needs, but also their future demands as well. Keeping all this in mind, Zero Code is able to help them address their varied requirements, and also keeping the cost low, and creating a flexibility for maintenance and improvements as we move forward.
I think since you are actually talking about self-reliance, you're mentioning about the skills and about the innovation. Now, since the pandemic has created the crisis, which is now more than forcing for a change, the improved adaptation towards is leading towards some productivity. Can actually bring that change across in terms of accessibility is what one of the first thing that everyone looks at in a and I'm quite certain that the time and the energy and the skills that you have actually invested in terms of improving the self-reliance and the productivity balance will actually succeed with everything around Zero Code. Thank you for sharing your views and opinions.
Thank you.
Sir, it is over to you.
Sir, thank you very much for your wonderful time, the inputs what you have given, and the way the responses are taking place. What you have done is excellent, and the futuristic perspective what you have shown also is very, very insightful. Thank you very much for giving us your valuable time and also valuable insights, particularly from the Zero Code perspective, and how the self-reliance and productivity are going to be achieved. The very fact that the people are showing a lot of interest on coding and the careers that are going to be built on that, all this is going to be, putting to a lot of question and a lot of, what should I say? This is going to be dismantled with online platforms and open platforms like Zero Code. So I'm sure this type of perspectives should need to go long way to among the youth, particularly among the working professionals, and also to the teachers. Thank you very much, Bharath and Ram.
Thank you for having me.